Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today's video is going to be on the topic of whatever I decide, and what I have decided for today is a drawing that has spontaneously come out of my brain and is now onto a page and is currently being drawn really fast. And what that happens to be right now is, in fact, an idea that I had where there's this farmer and he farms stuff, but he's farming in like a different world, kind of like take Avatar, a great show. And then it's like they have all these different creatures and stuff because it's a different world. And then what if you were like a farmer in that world and you would farm animals and plants, but they wouldn't be the animals and plants that we have, like a cow or something. They'd be different. And so this one is basically that. It's about a farmer who farms, but he's got a lot of different stuff. Like, for instance, I drew this little, like, it kind of looks like a pig or stuff, but like mushrooms grow off of it, and you shear the mushrooms off, and that's how you farm mushrooms. Instead of like grow how you would normally here, you do that. And like, he rides like this ostrich instead of a horse, and like he's got all this other stuff, and so it's like he farms, but then, you know, it's not the same as how you would farm here in this plane of existence. And I also had another idea where they like mine stuff, and then I kind of drew a little bit of like how like mining would work and stuff like that. And so I had all this kind of idea, but this drawing took me a while because I drew more than just a character. I drew like animals and stuff. But that's pretty much the idea for this one. And it took me a while to kind of draw this, but I really actually kind of liked how it turned out, and it was a pretty good drawing. I gave him kind of like overalls, you know, just to feel farmery. I tried to make it like slightly like old-timey, but also mixed with a little bit of futuristic. Like he's got this like metal thing on his arm and like this thing. And I also like the idea of like he like protects the animal, like kind of like a shepherd. Like back in the day, the guy would be with the staff and he'd protect the sheep. And if lions came, he'd just have to fight the freaking lions, you know? He's just got to fight the lions. And so that he does this too, but it's like, I guess like alien kind of creatures, but not necessarily alien, but like monsters, you know? Like fantasy creatures, I guess you could say. And he just has to fight them to protect the livestock. And so I feel like it could be kind of a cool idea. Like he's just a farmer, but then all this. And then like maybe there's like some other people, like the miners, and they mine in a strange way. And then there's like all these like, just like, I guess, what would you call them? Like, just workers. They just work and just like do the things, but you know, whatever. And I gave him that little wheat thing or whatever coming out of his mouth because I felt like that was a farmer thing. You know, wait a minute. That kind of makes him look like, wait. No way. So I basically just drew him, and that's basically what I did. I gave him kind of like longish hair because he doesn't cut it because he's a farmer and stuff. I made him kind of like skinny, but also like muscly because that's kind of how like farmers, like, you don't get really huge because you're working so hard, but you do get strong because you're working so hard, you know what I'm saying? But he kind of just looks like a farmer. I gave him like a hat and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's like got knives and swords and stuff to protect the animals and shear off the mushrooms and stuff. I was trying to think of like other ideas for creatures that would work in this world. Because like, you know, I don't want it to be really unique. Like not like kind of like our world, but then just a little bit different. I want it to be like very interestingly, you know, so like, I don't know. Like, I was thinking maybe there's this, like, thing that's basically a tree, but it's alive. But then I was like, that's not that good. So I was going to draw a lot more, like, animals and stuff. But I could only think of these two right off the bat. So that was kind of what that is. But this is how you farm mushrooms. And, like, fortunately, you don't actually kill the animal. You just shear off the mushrooms. And it's like sheep, you know? Like, it's good. You need to shear off the sheep. Wool, because it'll get too big and they won't be able to move. They'll get too hot and they'll die. And it's kind of like this guy, like you need to shear off the mushrooms or there'll too many mushrooms and blah 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 blah. And so it's kind of like a thing. I was thinking like I should come up with like a dog, because you know they have dogs to like herd sheep and stuff, and like it seems like they would have like their animal helper, I guess. But I couldn't think of anything like a good idea for that, so I didn't draw it. But you know, so like I kind of like this feel like it's just like he's just out in the field farming and stuff. Cool things happen. I was trying to come up with like a story, like maybe he's just a farmer, you know, and then like it's kind of like a classic story, like he's just a farmer kid, but then something happens, throws him into a whole situation, blah 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 blah. But I really can't really think of a story. It's just kind of a cool thing, like maybe he just lives in this town, and he's just the farmer. He supplies the stuff, maybe with some other people, and then there's the other people who do other stuff, and it's just kind of a city. Kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the Andy Griffith Show, actually. Like, it's nothing crazy, it's just showing people doing stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's not like a whole thing, so I guess that's probably how it would feel. If you've never seen the Andy Griffith Show, you probably wouldn't like it because it's such an old show, but I like it, so maybe you would like it. Anyway, that's basically how I was imagining this story. It's just, you know, chill people doing chill things, but it's just funny and entertaining, and just kind of cool to see how they would actually do the things that they do. But you know, that was basically the idea for this. And this drawing does take a decent amount of time, because, you know, things do that, especially when you actually draw a decent amount of stuff, which I actually don't do very often. And I actually ended up drawing a decent amount of stuff here, and I really tried to, which is also strange for me because I don't normally try. But you know, I tend to do that occasionally. Sometimes I will actually put effort into something unusual, but does happen. I know you're really surprised. I even surprised myself, to be honest. But I did actually do something maybe kind of good a little bit. But yeah, this is don't expect much of it, because it's probably not going to happen very often. But anyway, I draw this bird thing, horse. It's kind of like an ostrich, inspired by ostrich, but not quite ostrich, because you can tell that it's not actually. I like the saddle. I gave him the saddle and the stirrups and whatever they're called. I don't know that kind of stuff. I have ridden a horse before, but I'm not that smart in the ways of that kind of thing. But anyway, that's basically the story. And once again, I happen to be running out of things to say, which is a thing that is a problem, because this video is only half over. I just now finished the line art, and then I start doing the coloring. And I think the colors turned out pretty good. You know, it was kind of basic. You know, he's got dark hair. He's got the straw hat. I actually gave him like darker, tanner skin, because obviously he's out in the fields farming a lot. So I gave him like darker skin, which I usually just stick with the pale. My characters are very not. They don't differ very much, because they just always have brown hair and pale skin. But this guy's got tan skin, which I like, and I gave him a red shirt because that just seems like something. I think that's more of a lumberjack, but it also seems kind of farmery, so I did that. And you know, I kind of just fiddle-dee-deed around with the colors, and I gave him like some grayish, bluish overalls, because overalls seem like they need to be blue, but I didn't want the blue to clash with the red, and so I just made them just grayish. But I did a lot of coloring. I'm not gonna lie, the coloring was crazy. And I don't even know how what I normally do when I color is I simply just look at it and I'm like, this looks like it should be this color, and I color it. I'm not smart in the ways of coloring. And like, for instance, those gloves, I didn't know what to color them. I didn't want to color them black, but I didn't want to color them white, so I just freaking colored them bluish gray, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. With this bird, it's just tan, just some brown, just animalish colors, you know? This bird kind of looks like a lion ostrich. Like the colors look like lion colors, and then it's like a griffin but ostrich, which is not what I intended at all, but it ended up being that way. But you know, I kind of just did stuff, you know. That's how you get the best stuff. You just do stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I gave him purple feathers, because, you know, why the frick not? Why not just give him freaking purple feathers? I literally don't know why you wouldn't do that. I don't understand why you would not. So I did, and I'm happy about it. I'm not upset. And I colored the mushrooms red, because obviously there's no such thing as a mushroom that is not red. They are always red with white polka dots. That's just how mushrooms are. And then I colored the rest of this, and now I do shading, and the shading took also a decent amount of time, but probably the shortest out of all of them. And I did basically the same thing I normally do, which is just shade it with the soft brush and then go in later with the sharp cuts to make it a little bit more sharp and clean, but then also kind of fuzzy and more realistic looking. And that's basically what I did here, and it took a decent amount of time, but it did not take as long as the rest of it combined or individually. So that's what happened there. So this idea came out of the blue in my brain. I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I have this idea, I'm gonna draw it. And then I did, and now I'm happy. I'm happy that I did this. And I'm always happy when I draw something. And now I have to draw something again so that I can again be happy. So this is that drawing. It ended up looking pretty sick, and it is going to become even sicker because I'm not yet done with the shading. So I hope you enjoy all of thisness that is awesomeness, and it's pretty good. I sharpened the colors, the shades. I sharpened the shades, and that's basically it. I tried to make it look crisp. I admit, after the fact, that I really should have made these shadows a little bit lighter or more transparent because they are very dark. But alas, this is not the past, it is the future, and the future is nigh, and it is also right now. So I can't do that. I could go back and do that, but I refuse because I happen to be a lazy person who has already drawn enough. And that is that. I hope you guys like watching this me draw and also me talk about random stuff that really doesn't matter at all, and maybe you even wasted a lot of time. But this is it, so you can be done, and now you can subscribe because it was totally worth it, and I'm sure you want to see more. And I hope you enjoyed that drawing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the comment button, and do not hit the bell. And that is it. Watch more videos. I will see you later.